We are back with another build battle. This time we are doing it on the MN168. Now this is a super cheap rig. You can pick these up for like what, $60 or something like that on AliExpress. And I thought it'd be really cool if we could take a really cheap rig and see if we could make it awesome. So joining me for the build battle, we've got the wizard Wayne from Crawlstock RC. I'm sure he's going to pull some cool stuff out of the bag with his. And then we've also got Mike from Staffordshire Scale Trail. Now he's new to the build battles with us, so it'll be interesting to see what he does with his. Now it's currently 10:42 on Friday night. The video of this is meant to go up this Sunday. Various different excuses as to why I've left it this late in the day, but yeah, needless to say, I've got my work cut out. I'm pretty sure they've both finished theirs and their videos are scheduled, so yeah, I'm slacking a bit. So let's get cracking and see what we're going to do to this thing. So before we get the new one out of the box, let's just see what we're going to do. So first thing is we've got to get a driver in there. We got Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. Love Rick Grimes, so we've got to get him in there. He's going to be the driver. We might have to trim his backside a little bit to get him to fit. The other thing I'm not fussed about with the MN168 is these huge wheels, and obviously it comes with portal axles. So hopefully we're going to address that. So I've bought some MN82 straight axles. So I'm hoping to fit these up to the chassis. We've got front and rear axles. That'll obviously get rid of the portal axles and it'll kind of raise the height of the wheel into the wheel well. These are also metal as well, so should give us a nice bit of low down weight. Now the other thing I'm not fussed with this rig is the stock suspension. It's a bit stiff, so I want to see if we can do something about that. So I've got a few different kind of shock absorbers sitting around. I'm hoping I've got some old TRX4M shocks that I can chuck in there and see if they make a difference. They should give us a nice bit of droop, but hopefully give us a nice bit of flex. And what I really want from this is that kind of wobble, you know. If you're regular to the channel, you know I love a bit of wobble, so that's what we're going for. And then I have also already 3D printed some different wheels. So we've got these kind of like Challenger style wheels, and then we've got the kind of classic Range Rover style wheels, but a deep dish. So I 3D printed those on my Elegoo Centauri Carbon 3D printer. I'm still fairly new to 3D printing, so they're not the best, but you know, hopefully they should do the job. Undecided as which ones I'm going to go for. I love a bit of deep dish, but I do really like this kind of Challenger style wheel, so I might go for these. And then for the tyres, I've got these 1.3-inch Endura King Trekker tyres. Basically, I just want something that looks good and has got better grip than the stock tyres, because the stock tyres just, yeah, they're not very good. So these should hopefully be a million times better, and they're pretty soft as well. We've also got some other bits and pieces. We've got drive shafts, we've got different links and stuff like that in case we need some different stuff. And then if we move old Rick a minute, let's stick him back on his chariot. And then in this box here, we have what's hopefully the pièce de résistance, which is a metal gearbox with a brushless outrunner motor. These, I think, are the Neeb RC, I think it's called. And then we've got our brushless ESC in there as well. So you can see it's a AM32 45 amp. Take a 2 to 3S LiPo. We'll get it all out in a minute. But yes, I'm hoping with these that we should get some really nice slow speed control, because again, the stock electronics in the MN168, you know, they're not the best. This one does have the advantage of having the standalone receiver, so he's going to fall. So with this one, you could run brushless electronics and still use the stock radio gear, which we'll try that. If it's no good, then I've got, you know, other radio gear I can use. Now the other thing I'm going to do with this as well, just weather the body a bit. I'm not going to go too crazy, but I just want it to look not as shiny as it does now. Obviously this one's the used one, so we're going to take this one out in a minute and we'll open the brand new one. So obviously the brand new one will be even shinier. Once we've done all the upgrades, we will be giving it a test as well to see how it performs and see what it looks like. And like I said, Mike and Wayne will be doing the same thing as well. So I'll put links in the description to their channels and their videos, so be sure to check them out as well. So first off, let's get this brand new MN168 out of the box. I haven't opened this one, so I'm hoping it's good. Otherwise, we will be resorting to the other one. Okay, hopefully we can get in there now. So we have our MN168. I can see a problem straight away. We appear to be missing 2 wheels. I think they were going for a Reliant Robin with this one. They just forgot where the other wheels went. Then we've got our stock transmitter, which, yeah, these aren't amazing. What I will try and do, like I said, is I'll try and use this one just so you could see if you were trying to do this on a budget, you know, that you could reuse the stock radio. And then in our bag, looks like we've got our wheels, thankfully. So let's just empty our bag of goodies, see what we got in here. So we've got our 2 wheels, so that's good. Not really going to use them, but yeah, if we need to, we can fall back if my plan doesn't go to plan. You get your usual USB charger in there in case you're not familiar with it. You get your little mirrors and everything in there as well. We've got some stickers and some number plates. We may or may not stick some of those on. We've got our mirrors and our vents and stuff and our windscreen wipers, so we're going to need to fit those. Get your instructions and you get your clear lights. You get your Range Rover badges, so we're going to stick those on. And then you get your trusty wheel wrench tool as well. Now, I think the reason they didn't put the wheels on was to make it easier to fit in the box, because the other one was full on rammed in there. We've also got our Li-ion battery, so 1200 milliamp hour. So I've got a few of these now, so obviously we should be able to get some run time on these, but you can get a good like 45 minutes to an hour run time, I reckon, on one of these. And also, if you're not familiar with these, your doors open as well, which is pretty cool. Your rear boot doesn't open, but your doors open. So, you know, much easier to get a driver and get to the interior. And if you do want to take the body off, it's basically just like screws underneath holding it on. So yeah, it's not too hard to take the body off if you want to. So you can see those portal axles on there. And now again, you know, it's pretty cool that it comes with portal axles, and they do actually have metal gears, although they do it like cheap metal gears. But obviously I want this thing to not look so like lifted and, you know, yeah, it just looks a bit silly, to be honest. So I want to try and do away a bit with that. I'm also going to see what steering servos I got knocking around, because I want to change the stock steering servo, because again, it's not the best. So right, let's get all the mirrors on, the badges on and everything. So get this to the same state as what the other one is like. And then let's do our axles, get all those on there. And yeah, let's start getting all the mods on for the gearbox, the brushless system and everything like that. Okay, so we got all the mirrors, we got the Range Rover badges and everything on there. We've got our little side lights on there. We've got our rear vents on there as well. And we've got our rear wiper and rear badge on there. So what we need to do now, so we can have a look at this brushless system and do the axles, I am going to take the body off. So it should just be 2 screws on the front here, 2 screws on the back there, and then the chassis should just kind of shift forward and just unlatch from this piece over here. So let's just get that off a second. So all 4 screws are off, so we should be able to just shim it forward. There we go. So we're going to have to push the battery connector through the hole. And then you've got your lights plugged in here, so we should be able to just unplug that. There's the body completely off, so you can see, you know, it's pretty easy to get the body off. And if you wanted to then get to the interior, you've got all these screws here and everything. You can see you've got your light module and everything there. So yeah, not sure. No, we should be able to keep that because that's going to be on the standard receiver. So we should be able to keep our light module, so that should be okay. Okay, so now we can get to the chassis. So obviously what we're wanting to do is we're going to remove in this stock ESC. We're going to remove in this stock gearbox and motor. And then now we can actually get to everything a bit easier. Obviously we're going to have to take those wheels off. We're going to have to remove the axles so we can fit those other axles. So I'm going to get all that done at once, and I'll show you kind of going through the stages. Obviously I'm a bit pushed for time, so I'm not going to take you through every single detail, but yeah, it should be pretty easy that you've just got 2 screws there for the gearbox. Screws there for the drive shafts as well to disconnect the drive shaft, so that should be dead simple. The ESC is probably just held on with a little sticky pad. Hey, there we go, look, that was dead easy, look. So that's the stock gearbox and motor off. We'll have that screw, thank you very much. So we're going to be fitting this metal gearbox with this brushless outrunner motor, and then we'll be fitting this brushless ESC as well. Now, hopefully this should give us much better slow speed control. This was literally, I think they were like $32 or something for this, which is crazy, crazy cheap, yeah. So I believe this one's got all metal gears and everything as well. And yeah, hopefully this will be way better than stock. So let's get the motor fitted in there first, and let's see what we need to do to jiggle around to get this thing in there as well. Now, I also bought these black metal drive shafts as well, so I'm going to attempt to use these. These ones come with grub screws. So let's get these fitted on there onto the motor, then let's get the motor mounted. Stock ESC is just stuck on with a little sticky pad, but what we also need to do is undo these 2 screws here to get the power switch off. Okay, ESC is in there. There is a little kind of stubby bit that sticks up on the plastic casing here that you will need to cut off, but then otherwise the ESC just slots in there nicely. I have used a little bit of 3M tape on there as well. And then the motor for the brushless system is exactly the same way as you took the original one out, just 2 screws, super simple design. We've got the drive shafts on the motor as well, obviously we're going to change all the axles and everything in a minute as well. I've also fitted the power switch that comes with it, just fits in exactly the same place as the original power switch, so yeah, nice and simple. To get the links off and everything, it's just going to be these screws here. Once we get the shock off, there'll be screws that you might be able to just see tucked in behind there that'll then basically get all 4 links off, and then we can just remove the axle because obviously the drive shafts are already disconnected. So let me get all that off a minute and then let's see where we're up to. Okay, we've got the gearbox, the motor installed, we've got the drive shafts installed and everything. I have also installed the MN168 metal axles. Now I did try the TRX4M shocks, but unfortunately even with the TRX4M shocks on there, it still is very bindy, and the reason for that, I think I figured out, is it's down to the links. Because there's no pivot balls or whatever you want to call them, it doesn't have any twist. So let me show you that it's just very stiff. You know, even if we disconnect the shocks, it's still very stiff, and you can see the link is almost wanting to twist. I don't know if you can quite see it on camera, but really we need like pivot balls in here so that these links can move freer or more freely, and then, you know, you wouldn't get the issue with the suspension, because up and down it's not too bad, but the minute you twist, it just binds up. So yeah, and unfortunately I'm failing quite miserably on this one. Unfortunately, the steering servos that I thought was going to work, which is a mini crawler steering servo, is too small. So I should have just ordered one of the steering servos off AliExpress at the same time, but live and learn. Hey, I don't think I'm going to be winning this one, that's for sure. Okay, so if we just power it on again, that power switch is under there. Okay, so all powered on. We're going to hold the battery. So let's see what the slow speed control's like. But actually doesn't look too bad. Now, I did bench test this thing a second ago just to hear how loud it is. It's pretty noisy. Now I did take the gearbox apart. There is grease on the gears. You can't adjust the pinion. So I think it's just going to be a bit of metal on metal screaming. Now if you're a regular to town, you know most of my rigs end up screamers anyway. So this one will fit in nicely, I think. Okay, pop the body back on just so we can see what it looks like, and that looks so much better. You know, it's a shame the suspension isn't kind of what I hoped, but either way, that looks a million times better, I think, than it did stock. So just to show you that there's my original stock one. This is the one that we've modified. I mean, look how much higher that one is than this one. I much prefer the look of this one. Okay, desk is a bit of a mess at the moment, but I've just done the interior. So I've put Rick Grimes in there. I've also got Herschel in there as well from the Walking Dead. I don't know if you're a Walking Dead fan or not. Going for a bit of like weathering on the interior, 3 little blood stains and stuff like that. Yeah, just to give it a bit of detail really. Hopefully that looks a bit better on the interior then. And then I'm just 3D printing some stuff which I'm going to stick in the back as well. So hopefully that should be ready to go. And then for the body, I've done a bit of weathering. I haven't done the one side, so I'm going to show you how I've done it in a moment. But I just wanted to show you what I've done already. So just a bit of kind of detailing really, just to give it a bit of depth. I didn't want it to look all clean and shiny, so I've just made it look a bit kind of old and used. Hopefully you can see that okay. Because as you can see, the other side is completely stock and shiny, and it makes such a difference. That, I mean, that is stock, you know, just all shiny and new. So a quick time check. It's now Saturday, 4:30. I'm still actually finishing the model, so yeah, I've still got my work out, and obviously we've still actually got to get out and run this thing and then edit the video and get it up. So yes, it's definitely turning out to be a challenge. What I'm going to do is just take you through how I weather the rig. Now, I'm not going to do anything crazy for this one. I just wanted to look a little bit older. So basically for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Tamiya Weathering Master kit, the B kit, and what I generally just do is just plow on the soot and then just like dab it off and everything. You might have seen previous videos before, but just in case you're new and you'd like to give it a go yourself, then I will just quickly take you through how to do it. So you need your Tamiya B weathering kit. It comes included with the little brush you need, and you're just going to use the soft end over here. And want some water, probably going to be cleaner than mine because I've already used it. And then you just want some paper towel for dabbing. So basically what you're going to do is you're just going to get your brush, you're just going to stick it in your water. You want it to be fairly wet, to be honest. And then you're going to get your weathering kit. You're just going to kind of lash it on and just get it nice and wet. And then just start basically just brushing it on. Okay, I'll show you a close-up in a second. So just kind of lash it on, get some more, lash it on some more. Now, obviously, there's lots of different ways you can weather. Everybody does it differently. This is just kind of how I do it for a bit of quick kind of aging, I suppose, so it doesn't look so shiny and new. And it does make a difference, as you've probably already seen on the other side. And then we'll just do up here as well. We'll do some finer details and everything in a moment. So now what you're going to do is get your paper towel and you're just going to dab away. You can rub a little bit depending on how quickly you have, or how soon you have dried it off. So you can see the longer you leave it, the harder it is to kind of get off. But we're just going to keep dabbing away at it. I'm generally happy with the results, you know, how it turns out. I think it looks much better than it does, you know, out of the box. And at the end of the day, as long as it looks better than it did, you know, out of the box, and you kind of looks a bit old and stuff like that, then great. And the nice thing about doing it this way is if you don't like it, you can just basically get it all wet and it'll pretty much all just rub off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of details. So for that, you're going to want a finer paintbrush. And then all we're going to do is we're going to do all these little details around like the shut lines and everything. So again, we're going to wet the paintbrush, okay? We're not going to get it like sopping wet. And again, you're just going to stick it in your soot, or whichever color you choose to use. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do some of the fine kind of lines. So we're just going to kind of run the brush along here. Hopefully you've got a steadier hand than I have. Oh my life. Don't worry, we can rub all that off in a second. Okay, and then again, if you've made a bit of a mess like I have, then just, again, rub your paper towel, sorry, over it. You know, you can see already on the other side, like that we've already done, you know, it just gives it a bit of depth. I'm just going to do the rest of the shut lines in a minute, and then we'll have a look and see what the finished result is. Follow it around like the wheel arch. Oh my life. Ignore that bit, we'll clean that off in a minute. Yeah, steady hand is not my strong point, I'll be honest. We can just, again, just run our paper towel over. And just, you know, instantly just looks a bit better. And I think it just gives it way more depth. So let me just carry on doing that a minute. See, another nice thing as well is the little key locklet. You can see it doesn't really stand out at the moment, but if you just go around it a bit, oh my life, I'm making a meal out of this, aren't I? And then just do the center point. And then if we very gently just dab that so we don't completely ruin all of our work. You can see then that just how much more it stands out. There we go, that is the finished result. So you can see all the shut lines and everything. I've even done the petrol cap as well. So yeah, just gives it a nice bit of detail. Oh, and even like the door hinge as well. It's a bit hard to see in this light now, but yeah, like you can see even the door handles as well, which I think is really cool. Sorry, not the handles, the hinges. So normally I would do a bit of rust and stuff like that, but I'm not going to do that this one. I just want it to look a bit older and used to kind of match the interior and everything with Rick and everything in there. So my accessories have almost printed, so I'm going to get those in there. I'm going to get it all reassembled, and then I'll show you the finished result. Okay, it is finished and we are out on the trail. So we're going to give this thing a try and see what it's like. I'm happy with how it's come out. I mean, it's not my best build ever, you know, it's a bit rushed, but, you know, it definitely looks better than stock. I'm happy that we've got a couple of people in the interior. I have got some accessories in there as well. Not that you can really see them, but, you know, there are some in there. I've lacquered it. And I tried to do some kind of like, as if like the windscreen wipers have been on, just kind of like cleared the smears and all that kind of stuff. So, you got some kind of smears on the windscreen, on the window, sorry. So yeah, let's give it a little try and see what it's like. I'm hoping it's going to look really cool when it's on the trail, but also just perform much better than it did out of the box, because out of the box it's all right, but you know, slow speed control is pretty pants and etc, etc. So first off, let's just try the slow speed control with this brushless system now and just see how good it is, just coming up against some obstacles. And that's pretty nice and controlled so far, isn't it? Well, look at that. For like, what, $32, $33 system, including the gearbox? That's pretty crazy. Oh, look, because we've ditched the portal axles and we've gone straight axles, and we've got smaller tyres and wheels. Ground clearance may now be a bit of an issue. Oh, look at that, just scrape it over there. Come on, come on. Stuck. Yeah, there we go. That's not bad, bit of flex. The only thing that I'm not fussed on this thing, even just after testing on the bench, is how loud it is. I mean, like, it is so loud. It makes my TRX4 seem like it's nice and quiet. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is, oh, stuck on a stick. That's pretty awful. Right, I want to see how fast this thing is with the brushless system. So let's do a bit of full throttle. It's actually got a decent bit of go in it, to be fair. You know, it's got some wheel speed on it. Obviously, it's just a single speed, not a 2-speed, but yeah, that's got plenty of wheel speed. Right, let's just try some of our usual kind of obstacles, a little bit of root and tooting by here. Again, I think ground clearance is going to be our enemy now, to be honest, with how low it is. But hopefully we've got plenty of wheel speed that we can just send it if need be. Wow, okay, yeah, that's got some punch. Now this is normally a route that like mini crawlers and that can get over, so oh, bumper clearance there. Oh, hang on. Yes, okay, we're up. That is really good slow speed control. I mean, every now and again you can see it kind of like it's hesitating, like it's like thinking about it, and then it's kind of like, eh. But I mean, again, this is a super cheap brushless system, isn't it? Oh, I think we're gonna have to hop this one, aren't we? It's so noisy. This thing has got so much punch, it is unbelievable. But yeah, it is a screamer. Okay, we got a few more kind of little obstacles. Just our usual kind of stuff. There you go. Like, you see a little hesitation then? I mean, yeah, like I said, it is good for the money, and it's definitely an improvement over stock. One of the other issues I'm having is I don't have a lot of steering angle. I think it's because of those axles. They just don't seem to give me a lot of steering angle. That is really nice slow speed control though, isn't it? Look at that. Lovely bit of squish there as well. That is cool. Let's put the tires to the test with a bit of a bank climb here. I'm glad I went for those wheels with the 3D printed wheels. I do like the look of them. They look really cool. Look at that. That is doing an awesome job. Wow. Fair dues, this is so much better than it was out of the box. I mean, look at that. That is lovely and slow. Grip for days on the tires. That is so much better than it was out of the box. And obviously now we've got loads of punch. Let's just run it along the water a minute, shall we? You know, just a bit of a cinematic. That is such good slow speed control. I mean, I did not expect it to be this good for like, what, $30 odd. I mean, if you didn't want the metal gearbox, you could do it even cheaper. I think it was like $22 from AliExpress for just the brushless system without the gearbox, so it was stuck on a stone. Come on. Small scale life now with the ground clearance. That's not bad, actually. Let's work in that suspension. I was kind of hoping that having those heavier axles would make that suspension work a bit harder. And yeah, seems to be better movement than it was out of the box, because out of the box it was really, really stiff. But that seems so much better than it was. I mean, again, you could definitely improve it further with some different shocks and stuff, but no, you can actually see the suspension working. That's pretty cool. I'll dodge that big rock. Well, so far I'd say this thing is a definite improvement. What do you reckon? Be sure, if you haven't already, well, don't watch it yet, keep on watching my video, but be sure to check out, I'm stuck again. Be sure to check out Wayne and Mike's videos as well. I will put links in the description to their channels, and obviously I'll update it with their video links once they're up. Let's just see what it's like coming up here, a bit more kind of off-roading. See now with those tires and everything if we can climb up this bank. Oh, a lovely bit of squish on the rear there. Yeah, you can see that every now and again, let's see, it kind of hesitates and thinks about it. Ah, we're struggling for grip there, but again, we should have a bit of wheel speed. Oh, that's a big old dip we're going into. Oh, nice bit of flex. Oh, rubbing with the tires there. Oh, very nice. That was cool. Right, let's see if we can work the suspension with some of these roots, shall we? See what it's like. I don't know, what do you reckon? I think that is moving a bit better than it was stock. Definitely like so much better slow speed control. I mean, it's just, oh, we're stuck, hang on. Yeah, so much better slow speed control than it was out of the box. You know, I would definitely say if you've got an MN168 or an MN1, sorry, an MN82 or something like that. I'm stuck again. Ground clearance issues. Yeah, and you want better slow speed control from it, and just, you know, more wheel speed and everything, you know, except for the really noisy drivetrain, then it's definitely worth, you know, chucking the brushless system in there, especially for the price, you know. I mean, it's such good value for money. It's so cheap. Let's work it some more through here, shall we? I am blown away by how good that slow speed control is from that really cheap brushless system. I mean, you can see that every now and again when it gets stuck, it struggles, but see, that's just ground clearance issues right there. Come on. There we go. Oh, working that suspension. Yes. Oh, it's so cool. So much better now. Ooh, look, we got the tiniest bit of mud. It's been really hot and dry here in the UK, but we've got a tiny bit of mud left there, and it'd be rude not to try it, wouldn't it? Ooh, a bit of kind of cog in there. Don't know if you could hear it. Oh, yes, go on, get in there. That is all ground clearance issues right now. With obviously it's much lower to the ground now with those different axles. Let's see if we can go this way. Come on. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, look at that. And we got some mud on the tyres as well. Awesome. Well, what do you think so far? Do you think it's an improvement? And do you like what I've done with the body and the interior and stuff like that? Obviously, be sure to check out Wayne and Mike's videos. I'm intrigued to see what they've done. I don't know what they've done to theirs, so I'm intrigued to see what they've done. I would imagine Wayne has probably done some really awesome metal work, knowing him, and probably 3D printed some stuff, and it probably looks like way better than mine does. And Mike, I'm not sure. I reckon he's done a really good job. If you haven't seen his channel, check out some of his rig. He does some really nice scale builds. He's got a lovely FJ40, and he's got like the Zill from Boom Racing and everything. But yeah, he's got some really nice builds. So I don't think I'm going to beat anybody on this build, I think, to be honest. It's been a bit of fun, and obviously this one was just a kind of a simple build just to see if we could make this MN168 better than it is out of the box. And I think so far, mission accomplished. It's far too dry for any decent mud, but we've got the remnants of our little kind of mud pit that I normally run the mini crawlers in by here. So it'd just be interesting to see what this thing kind of goes like through here, working that suspension. Oh, we ground it out straight away. Yeah, the smaller axles are definitely giving us some kind of scale life issues. I definitely prefer the look. I much prefer it sitting so much lower to the ground. But obviously with that comes all the ground clearance issues like we're having right now. Oh no. Yes. When in doubt, throttle out. I think that suspension is definitely working better than it was stock. I think having those heavier axles is making that suspension work a bit more. It's a shame we couldn't do anything with the links. You know, I don't know if you can buy different links, but oh, look at that flex. Yeah, it's a shame. You know, I reckon if you could have some better links so you could get a bit more flex, it'd be even better. Oh, it does look cool though. Oh, we're getting stuck on the rear bumper now. We made it. Okay, last little bits. That motor was thinking about it then. Got a bit of sand. Hopefully again work our suspension once we start going over it. Come on. Oh, look at the tyres just digging into the sand. Nice. That may have been the first time I've just said nice, I'm not sure. Right, then we got our usual bank climb up here. Let's see if we can get up here. Yeah, I think my only thing I kind of dislike about it is how loud it is. I mean, you can really hear the brushless system, but also those metal gears. They are so loud. Yeah, there we go, come on. Oh, everything always gets stuck on that one route. Let's try and hop it. Oh no, we got ourselves even more stuck now. Yes, go on up and through. Oh, very nice. Go on, go on, go on. Yes, look at that. Well, what do you think? I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I think it's definitely better than stock. Just in regards to its performance, you know, I do like what I've done with it. The looks, I mean, I appreciate it's not my best build ever, but for the bit of work that I put into it, I think it's got a bit of character. You know, it looks cooler than stock, and well, in my opinion anyway. I think I'm probably going to have my work cut out to beat Mike and Wayne, to be perfectly honest, because I think they've probably gone to town on theirs, whereas, yeah, mine's been a bit of a rush job, I suppose. I definitely think comparing mine now to the stock version, I much prefer the way it looks with the lower ride height and everything, and just, yeah, the overall look of the body versus, you know, how high it is stock. I think these metal axles made a nice difference as well, although they did give us some ground clearance issues, especially with how much this steering link sticks out on the front. I reckon if we actually had some better suspension links on there, you know, with a bit more movement, then you'd have even more flex. And I think, you know, it'd be just much nicer suspension movement. But I was impressed with the movement, you know, even just with, I think, the extra weight on the axles, kind of making that suspension work a bit harder. And then obviously the weight of the extra figures and stuff like that in the body, you know, it all gives you a bit more weight. And, you know, the suspension was working quite nicely on the trail. And I think it was actually pretty cool that we were able to reuse the stock radio. I mean, it's not anything fancy, but it did the job, had no problems at all. And, you know, I think that's really cool that, you know, you could do some cheap upgrades to this thing, still use the stock radio gear, and actually the performance was pretty decent. But anyway, let me know what you think of it in the comments. You know, do you like what I did to it? What do you think of the performance mods that I did? I'll put links in the description to all of the parts that I used in this build if you do want to check them out. Make sure you check out Wayne and Mike's videos on their channel. I'll put links in the description to their channel. And then once their videos are out, I'll put links in the description to their videos as well. I'm really interested to see what they've done with theirs and what theirs performed like, and yeah, how theirs looks versus mine. If you're new to the channel, be sure to check out some of my other builds. We've done some pretty cool ones in the past as well, especially my FCX18 farm truck. Love that thing. Drop me a comment if you've got any questions. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.